And the other side of things was our athletes. So they gave us a lot of credibility. It's one thing to like have a clothing brand and have like your friends rep it, but having like a top tier athlete rep it, it's like, okay, like what company is this? Or like, okay, they're legit, you know? So that helped us a lot in growing our social presence. And yeah.
You have 6 athletes now, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And I wrote their names down here somewhere. You have 4 girls and 2 guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Currently.
Yeah, because I think I read on the website somewhere that powerlifting is growing more and more like amongst girls.
Yes, it's growing like crazy.
Yeah, so
strength sports and like with women is amazing. Yeah.
So was that kind of motivate your decision to get kind of lean more towards having female athletes than male athletes? Like what was that?
Not so much. I mean, it looks like that now, but we added Natalie really recently. But in the beginning, our first one is Ray Williams, and then our second one was Jen Thompson. We want to do like a balance of both male, female, Canada, USA, and like we're still currently looking for more male athletes and more international, just to help get our brand out there more internationally. But there wasn't really a game plan. It just so happened how it came about. And another big thing about like our athletes, like all of them supported us before being an athlete. You know what I mean? It's like there's people who ask us to be athletes who don't own any LVD, who haven't even looked at our old athletes, basically don't know anything about us. Whereas all of our athletes, they like supported us from the beginning, before we even like considered them as athletes. So that was just really cool, and it's really genuine. So yeah, there was no game plan. It just kind of ended up being how it is.
That's fair. And I was going to ask how you found, like, because you have multiple athletes from the States, like how you found them, or so you just kind of noticed them supporting and then reached out?
Other way around.
Really?
Like this is like one of my favorite stories. So Ray Williams, in my opinion, is like the LeBron James of powerlifting. Like he's like top tier powerlifter in our federation, and I knew about him. And all of a sudden, like one night, this guy, his Instagram is Optimus Prime. Like Mal was like, this Optimus Prime guy is liking all our stuff. Like, oh, he's looking for a follow. And then I'm like, that's Ray Williams. She's like, what? I was like, yeah. So then we DM'd him right away. We're like, hey Ray, like big fan, big supporter. Thanks for showing love. Would you ever like to hop on a call one day? And he was all about it, hopped on a call with us, and he just said he just really liked our brand, our presence, and the fact that we give back, like that we give back to causes, and that to him, he wanted to work with a company more than like money. Like he's like, I don't really, like money's fine, but he wants to build a legacy. That's his main reason of doing powerlifting, and he felt that we could help him create that legacy through like his custom t-shirts and just providing donations back to charities that mean a lot to him. So he was literally on board right away, but he came to us basically, right? Like he started liking all our stuff. And then Jen Thompson, he was in Canada for an event in Hamilton, Ontario, and we got to know her like personally. And then after that weekend, Mal and I were driving back home, and we were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like one day have Jen Thompson as an athlete? And we was, yeah, it would be amazing. And a week later, she reaches out to us, and she's like, would you guys ever be looking for, like, would you ever consider me as an athlete? We were like mind blown. We were up at her cottage. Wi-Fi sucked. We're like, we want to respond right away. But yeah, we ended up getting through to her. So we set up a call, and yeah, now she's one of our athletes.
So were those your first 2 athletes then?
First 2 athletes, yeah.
I know, because Ray Williams he would, like when I'm on your page and on Instagram, he's the guy that first caught my eye. Just 'cause he's a monster of a human being. Like he's huge. Yeah. And then his shirts, like his custom shirts, is the Money Time one, right?
Yeah.
See, that's the one, because I bought this shirt.
Yep.
But I was trying to buy the Money Time, but it was sold out.
I know, they go by so fast.
Yeah. But I like this one too. It's just sometimes that when I'm like benching only one plate and I have a bars loaded t-shirt on, I kind of feel like I don't know if I should be wearing it at that point in time, but like I love the shirt.
Yeah.
I think it's
cool.
great.
Thank you.
No worries. And then so you've added 4 more athletes as well on top of that.
Yes, we did.
You have, I think it's the top ranked powerlifter in Canada, right?
Kelly Brandon.
Yeah.
Great friend of ours. We actually wanted to, Kelly was our first choice as an athlete, being Canadian ourselves, the top Canadian athlete. But there was a lot of logistical issues with him. He was like more tied down to his main sponsor, which was fine. Like, we get it, you have a contract, and we totally understand. And so like we couldn't really get him on board right away, and that was a little more challenging. So we ended up going with just Ray and Jen eventually. We also have Marie Hati, the strongest female in Canada. We have Alissa Smith, so she was the strongest female junior at the time, and again from Ottawa, close friend, big supporter. And like Natalie Hansen, she's top female equip lifter in the world.
Wow, so you guys got some like really like strong athletes then. Like not like both physically and just like presence wise. Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's one more thing to add. It's like people think that we're just reaching out to like the top athletes, but in fact, like all of our athletes are our friends first. Like we established a friendship, and then like it just so happens like we each want to do business together, but like we were all like friends with our athletes before they were all athletes.
Yeah. So what's the, you don't have to get into specifics, but is it just like free merch? Like what's the relationship like from a business perspective?
It changes as we grow, right? So at the very, very beginning, it was just like free merch. And then as we grow, we still do the free merch, but then we're paying for some of their meet expenses, right? So like travel accommodations or their entry fees. Entry fees could get up to $300, right, for a meet. So we're slowly moving towards more compensation, and we also do a lot of like custom apparel, and then we'll donate a portion of the sales to like a charity of their choice.
That's awesome. And you guys are looking to add, you said looking for more athletes and international athletes.
Two things. So like international athletes, and also we're starting like an ambassador program. So it won't, so we're almost going to tier our athletes. So like there's the elites, but then there's going to be like a second tier that you have an opportunity to become an elite. We're still working on that. We don't really know the final details on that, but it's coming.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually going to bring that up because I saw on your website, like underneath athletes, it says we're looking for tier 2. So people can apply for tier 2,
It's
right?
going to be an application process, yeah.
Yeah. And so when you're kind of looking at bringing on athletes, is like social media following something you're looking at? Because I know your athletes currently, their followings vary. Like you have someone I think with like 7,000, but then people with like 100K plus.
Yeah. It definitely has an impact on our choices, just because they have an influence within the community. But it's not the only one. It also comes down to your personality, what you put out there. If you're going to be in the sport kind of long term, right? Like we don't want someone who's part-time powerlifter. There's nothing wrong with a part-time powerlifter. It's just we're looking for someone just like more really into the community. And potential, right? Like we could, like we're looking at some of the like juniors and sub juniors. So junior is 23 and under, and sub junior is 18 and under, I believe. And we're looking at those athletes that have a potential to become the Ray Williams of the future, right? So there's a lot of aspects that goes through athletes.